It's been years, and I can still see myself sitting in a conference room in the Ruby building at Amazon when one of my coworkers showed their true colors, and leadership loved it. And I was silently raging in my head. I was floored that this person blatantly presented an idea I had shared with them earlier in the week, and they presented it to leadership as if it was their own and smiled while they got praise and excitement over the idea and never once acknowledged me or the fact that this was my idea. I was so mad, but I also knew if I said anything in that moment, it wasn't going to go over well because I was so angry. So I just kind of sat there in silence, judging them, playing through all the terrible, horrible things I wanted to say to them. And this person even went on to get promoted and almost became my boss. Now, if I had known then what I know now, I have a feeling things would have been very different. There's a 3-part framework that addresses these types of issues that was a game changer later on in my career. And today I'm going to teach you this 3-part framework. But let's fast forward a few years after that meeting. I was in another meeting where I was presenting a business idea. And I knew that there was a peer stakeholder that I needed to get their buy-in. If they were not bought into this business idea, it was dead in the water. So I had done my homework and connected with them ahead of time and shared the idea and gotten their feedback and incorporated it. And they were fully in. So we go into this meeting with our manager and our skip and a few other people. And we went into the meeting aligned. And I was totally caught off guard when the moment these other leaders started to ask questions, they completely changed their mind. And all of a sudden, they didn't think it was a great idea. I was so mad. But I had this 3-part framework in my career toolbox, and it changed it all. So this time, I actually ended up being able to get their alignment, and we moved that project forward. So if you've experienced anything like this and you hate confrontation, listen up, this one's for you. The other crazy thing is this 3-step framework. This works when things like this happen at work, regardless of if it's your manager or senior leadership, but it also works with friends and family. Okay. If you struggle with confrontation and someone has done something that is really rubbing you wrong, this is the framework you need to use. So using this is going to help you stay out of resentment, stop feeling like a victim and like you're out of options. Because usually what happens when you find yourself in a scenario like this, your brain tends to tell you your only options are like be that person and go tattle or get them in trouble. Or you just got to suck it up and stay stuck and be angry and resentful. But there's another way. So this framework is super simple, but it works every time. And I'm going to explain to you why. So if you're in this scenario, you need to go have a conversation with this person. I usually don't recommend you have it in that meeting unless you can emotionally process the frustration fast enough and come to this like from a genuine good place. And it's appropriate to have with the people in the room. 9 times out of 10, you want to have a conversation with this person after the fact. So when you're having a conversation with this person to address it, step number 1 is you just want to state the facts. Like, what is the circumstance? What happened? This isn't like opinions. This isn't interpretation. This isn't like I was so mad. It's what happened. And you kind of want to call out the elephant in the room. It's, hey, I thought we went into this meeting aligned that we thought this was a good business idea. And after one question, you changed your opinion and went along with what the other leaders were pushing back on. Okay? We're just stating what happened. Hey, when you and I connected last week, I brought up this idea and you presented it to leadership as if it were your own and didn't acknowledge me. Okay? So we're just going to state the fact as step number 1. Step number 2 is you want to be honest with them about your initial reaction. And how you go about doing this is kind of dependent on your personality. I'm not a very serious person. I joke about things. So sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll joke about it and get a little dramatic. But you want to tell them what was your genuine reaction. But step number 3 is going to make up for it so that you don't just come off as a jerk. Also, when you do this, you don't want to apologize, okay? So in the example where the person changed their mind, I'm going to state the facts and say, hey, we had agreed that we were aligned on this business decision. And then after one question, you changed your mind and didn't really support me. My initial reaction was like, I had a total temper tantrum in my brain. And I was so mad and frustrated because I felt like you kind of threw me under the bus because you were so worried about being liked by leaders that you weren't willing to support me and this idea and back it up. And I thought that's what we went into the meeting with, right? I'm being pretty truthful and honest. I don't want to berate them and be terrible, but I'm telling them this was my initial reaction. I'm not apologizing. But step 3, you're going to see how we're going to smooth it over. In the example where they took your idea and presented it, right? I'm going to state the fact. Hey, I shared this idea with you in a meeting last week. And then in this meeting with other leaders, you presented it as if it was your own and didn't give me any credit. I was so annoyed and frustrated. I was making it mean that you were willing to do whatever it took to get to the top and you did not care about me and that I should not be trusting you. Notice how these aren't all me statements. I'm telling them what my brain was making them think about them. You need to be honest, okay? Because 1, this is going to help you stay out of resentment, stay out of feeling like the victim. But step 3 is where we get to not be a jerk because we don't want to be that kind of person. So once you've stated the fact, once you've told them what your brain is making it mean, quick interruption. If you're listening to this thinking, I'll figure this out later, that's exactly why you're still stuck. You've been telling yourself after this project or once things calm down for how long now? 6 months, a year, 2? Every week you wait is another week watching less qualified people get promoted and move on while you stay exhausted and undervalued. The brutal truth? Nothing changes if nothing changes. And no one is coming to save you. It's your job to make the change. My coaching program gives you the exact tools to break this cycle in weeks, not years. You can even try it out for free. The link is in the description below. Because if you don't take action now, when will you? Next year when you're even more burned out? Or when you're in a bad spot and have to find a new job? I hope not. You deserve better. Now back to the podcast. Step number 3, this is where you want to go to them curious and give them the benefit of the doubt to show that's just you emotionally responding and being irrational. So you want to have a conversation about it because you're acknowledging to them you were angry and mad, but you also have the emotional intelligence to know that's probably not what was going on. So you want to kind of flip it back to them out of curiosity because we want to have a conversation about it. And you want to make it safe for them to respond honestly if they're emotionally comfortable with that. They may not be, and that's okay, but they now know you're not okay with it, but you're also open to hearing where they came from. So with that example of where they went into the meeting supporting you and they quickly changed their mind, I'm going to tell them, I was so annoyed. I was so frustrated. I felt like it was a waste of time. And I felt like you were trying to impress leaders instead of backing up this idea and me and the team. And it made me lose a lot of trust in you. So then I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say, but I also know that's not like you. And I don't think you're the kind of person that would purposely do that. You're not the kind of person that throws people under the bus and just leaves them out high and dry. So I'm curious, what was going on for you in this meeting? I want to understand it, right? Do you see how you're giving them the benefit of the doubt? Even if they were trying to be malicious and mean. We're throwing it back at them because we want to hear what was going on in their head. This is going to allow for a conversation where they're like, oh, I totally didn't even think of it that way. Or they're like, oh no, just when this leader asked this question and pointed this thing out, I was like, oh, this is so obvious. This isn't going to work. But you're right. I could have been more supportive. I didn't mean for you to feel that way, right? This is going to allow you to have a healthy conversation. Or you're also going to learn their true colors and they're going to say, yeah, no, I just changed my mind and I'm allowed to. And I'm like, okay, good to know, right? Usually if they're very standoffish and continuing to push you back, that's telling you there's something else going on with them. They have low emotional intelligence and they're operating from fear and scarcity. And that's just good to know as you're going to work with them in the future. Let's look at step number 3 in the other scenario where the person presents your idea as your own, right? So we're being honest with them to be like, I was totally shocked and surprised that you presented it as if it were your own idea. And I was so mad because I felt like you were just trying to steal and take credit for my work and that I was a no one in the scenario. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I also know I've worked with you in the past and I know that's not true. That's not who you are. I'm guessing that's not what you were trying to do. But I'm curious, what was going on for you in that moment? Or help me understand where you were coming from. What am I missing? What am I not seeing? I know there's got to be another piece to the puzzle here. We're just going to give them the benefit of the doubt. This works because being transparent about your experience without attacking them allows you to open up that conversation instead of them feeling like they need to get defensive. If you are trying to hide that you were mad and angry and ticked off, they will sense that and they will get defensive and push right back up against it. So we just want to acknowledge I was mad and pissed off. And I know that's a little bit irrational. That's me just being a little bit over dramatic because I'm tired and stressed out, because I know that's not really who you are. And it allows you to connect as humans and be the kind of human you want to be. Let's look at one last example. This works with that like one-upper person as well. Again, this can be at work or even at home with your friends and family. So you want to state the fact, tell them what your brain thought, and give them the benefit of the doubt. Here's how it might go. Hey, when I mentioned our team had this big win, you immediately shared a bigger success story and didn't even acknowledge it. I was so frustrated in that moment because my brain kept telling me that you were trying to minimize our win and that you always have to have a bigger and better story. But I also know that's not who you are. You're not here to one up and climb your way to the top by pushing all of us down. So I know I'm being a little bit irrational, but I'm just curious, like, have you noticed this pattern, or have you noticed times when I might do that in return? Do you see how I'm just stating the facts? I'm not apologizing that they did this thing and it ticked me off. I'm not apologizing for being mad, but I'm also opening up the conversation because I intellectually and in my nervous system, in my body know that's probably not what was happening. Something else was going on, and I'm making it safe for them to explain that something else. So if you struggle with confrontation, this is a really powerful way to feel like you're not a jerk, like you're not just trying to get them in trouble. But if you're avoiding hard conversations because you're convinced eventually they're going to see this, eventually someone's going to catch on, that's the long game, and they don't. That person in my first story, they went on to get promoted like twice, and they kept burning through people, and their teams didn't trust them. And truthfully, I don't think leadership really cared because they could deliver and drive a lot of results for the company. So when you have this hard conversation, it keeps you from feeling like you have to keep a mental scorecard of people, like you have to manage who can you trust, who can you not trust. And it keeps you from being resentful and the victim and playing small, but it allows you to know with confidence who's on your side and who's not. Now we're not second guessing of like, is it me? Is it them? We don't have to be angry, mad, or resentful. We're just like, oh, that's that person. That's what they do. And we keep confronting them with it to hold our boundaries of, hey, I'm not okay with you taking my ideas. Hey, I'm not okay with you saying completely different things to me one-on-one than when we have leaders in the room, right? And then once you have enough of those examples, those specific situations, if it continues to be a problem, now you have specific examples to take up to managers as you escalate forward. So the other thing to keep in mind with this is it's very normal and healthy to feel frustrated and annoyed in the moment. You are human. So that's why I say usually you can't have this conversation in the moment. You can't skip straight to, I'm just going to let this go and have a conversation. You have to give yourself permission to be mad and angry and annoyed before your brain is going to give you permission to give them the benefit of the doubt. If you don't allow yourself to feel it and process it, your brain will continue to tell you all those harsh, mean, horrible things about them. Go all in on it. Feel frustrated, feel mad, feel annoyed, feel betrayed. All of those things are allowed. And once you're there, then we can go and have the conversation and truly, honestly mean it when we're genuinely curious. So this framework, super simple. It takes some practice to execute without getting defensive yourself. If you need a place to practice these conversations or you want some help, this is exactly what I do in my coaching program. You can sign up, try it out for free, get some help with this thing, jump out if you want. There's no strings attached, but learning this is a game changer. You will continue to run into people that will take credit for your ideas, throw you under the bus, not support you when you need to be supported. And this is a tool that allows you to confidently confront these people in a way that you don't feel like a jerk, you don't feel like you're putting them on the spot, and you feel like you're going to have a healthy conversation to move forward. All right, y'all, you got this. You're amazing. We'll talk soon.